Dear students, today I'm going to teach you chapter number 3, drainage, and I'm going to provide you the basic information about the drainage system in our country. So today we will be mainly discussing about the term drainage. What does the term drainage means? What do we mean by the term drainage basin, water divide? And also we will be discussing about the important characteristics of the Himalayan rivers and the peninsular rivers. So let us continue with the class, that is the drainage. Okay. So here you can see the image of a river, okay, passing through a vast area. So what does it mean actually? This area, it basically refers, okay, it basically tries to shows us the river system of this particular area. Okay, and you can see here that this entire area, okay, the entire region, it is getting water from this single river actually. Okay, so we are going to discuss about the drainage, okay, the drainage basin and the water divide. See. So what does the term drainage basically refers to, or what do we mean by the term drainage? The term drainage describes the river system of an area. Okay. So basically the term drainage, it refers to the river system of any particular area. Okay. And here you can see in this image, okay, this image basically tries to show, okay, I'm just zooming the picture to show you, okay, so the picture is a little bit blurred. So here you can see that on one side, the mountains are there, which are covered with the snow, and on the other side, okay, the ocean is there. So what is happening here is that from the mountain areas, the main river, okay, from the mountain area, the main river is flowing towards the ocean, and the main river is joined, okay, by the many tributaries, by many small streams and all. Okay, so this entire, okay, the entire this river, okay, the main river along with its tributaries, okay, they form the drainage actually, okay, they form the drainage system of this particular geographical area, or we can say it forms the river system of this particular area. So here you can notice one thing is that you see that this important river along with the tributaries, it is supplying water to this entire area, isn't it? So this entire area is known as the drainage basin, okay, of this particular river actually. So we will be discussing in details about the drainage basin, about the term water divide and all. Okay, just wait. So see. So basically, drainage refers to the river system of a particular geographical area. Okay. And many small tributaries flowing from the different directions, they come together to form the main river. Okay. So when the main river, it originates from the high mountain areas and also can they flow towards the ocean, it is joined by many number of small streams, many number of small rivers and also, okay, which are known as the tributaries of this main river. So many small streams flowing from different directions, they come together to form the main river, which ultimately drains into a large water body such as a lake or a sea or an ocean. So almost all the rivers, they drain their water in the oceans only. Okay, the large rivers actually, they drain their water in the oceans only. So now I'm going to explain you the term drainage basin and the water divide. So just now I have said you what does the term drainage basin mean. Okay, so drainage basin is particularly the geographical area which is drained by a single river system. Okay, it is known as the drainage basin. Or you can also say that a single river, okay, a single river when it supplies water to a particular geographical area. Okay, so that particular geographical area is the drainage basin of that particular river. So here you can see in this image, okay, that on left hand side you can say that the drainage basin of stream A, on the right hand side you can see that the drainage basin of stream B actually. Okay, so here what you see is that the main river along with its tributaries, okay, it is supplying water to this part of the hills, okay, and this part of the hill is known as the drainage basin of this stream A. On the right hand side you can see that the other side of the hills, okay, it is mainly drained by the river B, okay, and the entire area, it is getting water from this stream B and its tributaries. Okay, so that particular area is the drainage basin of stream B. Okay, so we can say that the term drainage basin basically refers to the area which is drained by a single river and its tributaries are known as the drainage basin. Okay. So different important rivers, they flow, okay, in different directions. They originate in the mountains and they flow in different directions. Okay, and they have a different drainage basin. Like in our country, the most important Himalayan rivers are the Indus, Ganga, and the Brahmaputra. Okay, so this Indus River, the Ganga River, and the Brahmaputra River, they supply water to a particular geographical area, and that particular geographical area is known as the drainage basin of that particular river. Okay, and the area, the uplifted area which separates two drainage basin is known as the water divide. An uplifted area which separates two drainage basin, it is known as the drainage. It is known as the water divide or the drainage divide also. See, a closer observation on a map will indicate that any elevated area, such as a mountain or an upland, which separates two drainage basins, okay, is considered as a water divide. Like in case of the Indus drainage basin and the Ganga drainage basin, okay, the Indus and the Ganga drainage basin is separated, okay, by an uplifted area near Ambala. Okay, near Ambala, okay, there is an uplifted area which separates the Indus drainage basin and the Ganga river basin actually. Okay, so that is the water divide between this two drainage basin actually. Okay, so here in this picture also you can see that basically the stream A and the stream B is getting divided. Okay, they are having a separate drainage basin just because it is separated by an uplifted part. Okay, so this uplifted part which is separating the drainage basin of stream A and the drainage basin of stream B is known as the water divide. So in simple terms, we can say that water divide is an elevated portion which separates two drainage basin. Okay, that is the water divide. So we came to know about the term drainage. What does the term drainage means? What do we mean by the term drainage basin and what is water divide? So basically, there are many rivers in the world. Okay, important rivers, large rivers in the world. Okay, which has their own drainage basin. And in the world, the largest drainage basin has been formed by the river Amazon. Okay, so there are two important questions which are very important. Okay, you can see here that which river has the largest drainage basin in the world. Okay, so the largest drainage basin of the world has been formed by the river Amazon. Okay, and in our country, the largest drainage basin has been formed by the river Ganga. Okay, and you will notice that the Ganga, okay, the Ganga river has the largest drainage basin, and a larger part of the northern plains is a part of this Ganga river basin. That is starting from the state of Haryana, Delhi, okay, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, West Bengal, some parts of Jharkhand and all. Okay, these all states are actually the part of the Ganga river basin. Okay, they are a part of the Ganga river basin. So we can this Ganga river actually, okay, it drains a larger part of our country, and it is having the largest basin in our country, largest drainage basin in our country. So these are the two most important questions, okay, from the first portion which I have taught. The next, so the drainage system in our country can broadly be classified into two major categories, okay, according to the relief features. So in our previous chapter, chapter number 2, we have studied that our country is having different types of relief features. Okay, variation in the relief features are there. Like we are having the mountains, plateaus, plains, island, deserts, and all. Okay, so basically, most of the rivers of our country, they originate either in the Himalayas or in the peninsular plateau. Okay, so on the basis of the origin, okay, on the basis of the origin, the drainage system of our country can mainly be classified into two major categories. That is the Himalayan rivers, which has its origin in the Himalayas, and the peninsular rivers, which has its origin in the peninsular plateau region. The drainage system of India are mainly controlled by the broad relief features of the subcontinent. And I have explained you that India is considered as a subcontinent. India, along with its neighboring countries, is considered as a subcontinent. Okay, so the drainage system of our country is mainly controlled by the relief features, by the physical features, that is the Himalayas and the Peninsular Plateau. Okay, so on the basis of the origin, the Indian rivers are broadly classified into two major categories. That is the Himalayan rivers and the peninsular rivers. So here we can say that the river which has its origin in the high Himalayan regions, they are known as the Himalayan rivers, such as the Indus, Ganga, Brahmaputra, Yamuna, Okay, the Tista, Ghagra, Kali, Gandak, Kosi. Okay, these are all the examples of the Himalayan rivers. And peninsular rivers, the rivers which originate in the peninsular plateau region. Okay, in the peninsular plateau region, some of the rivers they originate in the central highlands, and some of the rivers they originate in the western Ghats. Okay, and they form the peninsular river system, such as the Narmada, the Tapi, the Godavari, the Krishna, okay, the Mahanadi and all. These are the peninsular rivers actually. So apart from originating from the two major physiographic regions of India, the Himalayan and the peninsular rivers are different from each other in different ways, in many ways. Okay, so apart from its origin, okay, like we came to know here that the Himalayan rivers they originate from the Himalayas, and the peninsular river it originates from the peninsular plateau region. Okay. So apart from the place of origin, there are many differences between the Himalayan rivers and the peninsular rivers. Okay. So we are going to discuss about the differences between this Himalayan and the peninsular rivers in the form of the characteristics. Okay. So we are basically going to discuss about the characteristics of the Himalayan rivers and the peninsular rivers. Okay. So it will provide us information about the differences between these two river systems. So let us start first with the Himalayan rivers. So as I have said that the Himalayan rivers, they originate from the high Himalayan region. Okay. So we all know that the high Himalayan regions are covered with snow and glaciers throughout the year. So what happens is that this snow and the glaciers, they melt, okay, and it supplies water to the rivers. Okay, and that is why the Himalayan rivers, they have a continuous supply of water throughout the year. And because of having a continuous supply of water throughout the year, the Himalayan rivers are known as the perennial rivers. They are known as the perennial rivers. Okay. Most of the Himalayan rivers are perennial. It means that they have water throughout the year. You will see that most of the Himalayan rivers, okay, they have continuous supply of water throughout the year. Why? Because they get water from the rainfall during the rainy season, as well as they get water from the melting of the snow from the high Himalayan region, from the lofty mountains, from the high mountain regions. So there are many Himalayan rivers. Okay, there are many rivers which originate in the Himalayas, but the most important rivers are the Indus, Ganga, and the Brahmaputra. Okay, so these are the three main rivers actually. The Indus, Ganga, and the Brahmaputra. These are the three important Himalayan rivers. Apart from these many rivers, they originate in the Himalayas, but they are the tributaries of these three main rivers. So out of these three rivers, the Indus, Ganga, and the Brahmaputra, the Indus River and the Brahmaputra River, they originate from the northern part of the Himalayas. Okay, like we are located in the southern part of the Himalayas. Okay, and this Indus and the Brahmaputra originate from the northern part of the Himalayas. That means from the Tibetan plateau region. Okay, they originate from the other side of the Himalaya, that is from the Tibetan region. Okay, and after originating in the Tibetan region, they have entered India, okay, by causing a lot of erosional activity. Okay, they have caused a lot of erosional activity. They have cut through the mountains, they have formed the gorges and the valleys, and they finally managed to enter the Indian territory. Okay, so the Indus rivers, it enters India from the Ladakh region. It drains the state of Jammu and Kashmir, and its tributaries drains the state of Punjab, and finally it enters Pakistan. Okay, and it drains into the Arabian Sea. Whereas the Brahmaputra river, it flows for a long distance in the Tibetan Plateau region, and it enters India through Namcha Barwa in Arunachal Pradesh. Okay, so these two rivers, they have cut through the mountains, they have formed the deep gorges and all, okay, and they have entered our country. But whereas the Ganga River, it has originated from the Indian territory, okay, from the southern part of the Himalayas, from the Indian territory, okay, from the Gangotri glaciers. So most of the Himalayan rivers, almost all the Himalayan rivers, they flow for a longer distance. Okay, they have a very long course from the source to the sea. That means the place where they are originating, from that place till the oceans, okay, they flow for a long distance. Like the Ganga River, it is the longest river of our country. It flows for around 2,525 kilometers. Okay, in the same way, you will find that the Indus River and the Brahmaputra River also, okay, they have a long course. Okay, they flow for a long distance before draining their water in the Arabian Sea and in the Bay of Bengal. Okay, so these are some of the important characteristics of the Himalayan rivers. The Himalayan rivers are perennial in nature. They receive water throughout the year from the melting of the snow, glaciers, and rainfall. Okay, and they have a long course from the source to the sea. Most of the Himalayan rivers, they cause much erosional activity. They perform intensive erosional activity in their upper course and carry huge load of sand at the silt. So here you can see a image is there, a picture is there, where the course of the Himalayan rivers has been divided into three sections. And here you can see that the upper course basically represents the higher Himalayan region where the rivers originate. Then the middle course basically refers to the foothills and the plain areas when the river entered the plain areas, and the lower course basically represent the further plain area, okay, till the oceans, okay, when the river flows through this lower course. Okay. So in these three different courses, the river, okay, they cause much erosional activity. In the upper course, basically the river causes much erosional activity, and in the lower course, the river causes depositional activity. So from the high Himalayan region in the upper course, the river cause erosional activity. They bring along with them the sediments, and it deposits the sediments in the middle course and the lower course. Okay, and so in the middle and the lower course, different types of depositional landforms has been formed by the rivers. Let us discuss about this thing. So the Himalayan rivers, they perform intensive erosional activity in their upper courses and carry huge load of sand and silt. So most of the Himalayan rivers, okay, after originating in the high Himalayan region, they cause much erosional activity. And because of its erosional activity, huge load of sand and silts are being carried down by the fast flowing rivers. Okay, and this sand and the silt, okay, they are being brought down to the middle and the lower course, okay, and they are deposited over there. Because when the river, they flow from the high areas, they flow at a very faster velocity, at a very faster speed. When it enters the middle area, the speed reduces, and the speed further reduces when it enters the lower course actually. Okay, so basically in the lower course, the river, they cannot carry along with them the heavy materials. Okay, so most of the heavy materials, they get deposited in the middle course, and okay, in the middle course and all, and the fine sediments are being carried further, okay, in the lower course. So these fine sediments and the coarse materials, they get deposited in the middle course and the lower course, and different types of land features are formed. In the middle and the lower courses, these rivers, they form the meanders, the oxbow lakes, and many other depositional features in their floodplains. And they also have the well-developed deltas. They also have formed the deltas. Okay. So what are these oxbow lake? What are meanders? Okay, what are deltas that I am going to discuss actually. So basically, you will notice that in the high Himalayan region, okay, when the river flows to the hilly region, actually, they cause much downward erosion. You will not find that the rivers are more wider in the hills actually, but the rivers are more deeper actually because it causes more erosion in its base. Okay, side erosion is very less. Okay, so the depth of the river is more, okay, and they has formed the gorges, the valleys and all because of erosional activity. And when these rivers, they enter the middle course and the lower course, okay, they deposit the sediments, and because of the deposition of the sediments, the meanders, the oxbow lakes and the deltas are being formed. So when the river is flowing from the high Himalayan region to the middle course, actually, the sediments get deposited along the course of the river, and the river, they cannot flow in a straight way because of the sediment deposits. Okay, the river has to change its course, and the river flows in a zigzag condition, S-like pattern. So this S-like pattern of the river is known as the meander, and sometimes such rivers are also known as the meandering rivers. That means the rivers which flows in a zigzag in a S-like pattern, they are known as the meandering rivers. Okay, so this S-like pattern is actually the meander. Okay, and the sediments, when it gets deposited on the path of the water flow, actually on the path of the river, okay, the river cannot flow through its original path, and the river has to change its direction. Okay, so what happens, the older path actually, okay, it get detached, okay, and it leads to the formation of a lake like structure which is known as the oxbow lake. So here you can see, I'm just trying to show you here. Okay, so here you can see that the river is flowing like a zigzag condition. Okay, sorry. Okay, it is flowing like a zigzag condition, and maybe the river was flowing like this way before. Okay, the river was flowing like this way before. Okay, But because of the deposition of the sediments here, okay, the river could not flow, could not pass through this old path actually. Okay, and what the river did, the river, it changes course from this side. So this old path, okay, through which the river used to flow, it got detached, and here a lake-like structure got formed, which is known as the Oxbow Lake. Okay, so this is how actually, okay, the meandering rivers, they form the Oxbow Lakes. So you will find the presence of the Oxbow Lakes in those rivers which flows in a zigzag conditions. Okay, and ultimately the fine sediments, okay, they are deposited at the mouth of the river. This is the mouth of the river. Okay, that means when the river, it enters the ocean actually, okay, that part is known as the mouth of the river. So here the river, they deposit all its sediments, the fine sediments are being deposited over here. Okay, and the marshy and the swampy area is being formed at the mouth of the river, which are known as the deltas, such as the Sundarban Delta, the Godavari Delta, the Mahanadi Delta. Okay, these are the deltas, okay, which has been formed by the rivers actually. Okay, it is not that only the Himalayan rivers form the deltas, but also some of the peninsular rivers also, they form the deltas in the Bay of Bengal. So this is what about, okay, the important features of the Himalayan rivers. Now next the peninsular rivers. See, so the peninsular rivers are quite different, okay, in features from the Himalayan rivers. The peninsular rivers, as I said earlier, that most of them, they originate from the peninsular plateau region, that is either in the Central Highlands or in the Western Ghats. Okay, so the Central Highlands and the Western Ghats, they are not so higher in elevation like the Himalayas, so the formation of the snow is not there. Okay, so these rivers, they does not have a continuous supply of water. Okay, they only depend on the rainfall. So the peninsular rivers are considered as the seasonal rivers. Okay, because their flow is dependent on the rainfall. So during the rainy season, they have enough supply of water, and during the dry season, the flow of the water reduces. During the dry season, even the large rivers have reduced flow of water in their channels. Okay, so the large rivers like the Mahanadi, the Godavari, the Krishna, and the Kaveri, okay, these are the large peninsular rivers. Even these rivers, okay, they have a less supply of water during the dry season. The peninsular rivers, they have a shorter and a shallower course as compared to the Himalayan counterparts. The Himalayan rivers, they have a longer course. They flow for a long distance, but the peninsular rivers, they are not having much longer course actually. Okay, they have a shorter course as compared to the Himalayan rivers. Okay, and the course is shallower. In case of the peninsular rivers, you will find that the peninsular rivers are not so much deeper actually, but they are more wider. Why? Because they cause much erosional activity on the banks, okay, on the both banks of the river actually. But whereas the Himalayan rivers, it caused more erosional activity in its base. That is why they are more deeper. Just take an example of the Tista River, which is very close to us actually. If you see the Tista River, you will find that the river is not so wider, but it is more deeper actually. The depth is much higher. And if you go to the southern India, and if any point of time, if you see the rivers actually like the Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri, or the Mahanadi and all, you will notice that those rivers are more wider. Okay, because the side erosion, okay, the lateral erosion is more in those peninsular rivers. So some of these peninsular rivers, they originate in the Central Highlands, okay, and they flow towards the west, okay, and some of the rivers or which originate in the Central Highlands, okay, they are the tributaries of the river Ganga, which is a Himalayan river, such as the Chambal, the Betwa, the Swan and all. Okay, whereas the Narmada and the Tapi, okay, these are the two peninsular rivers which flows towards the west. They drain their water in the Arabian Sea. But most of the peninsular rivers which originate in the Western Ghat, they flow towards the Bay of Bengal. Okay, and they form deltas as well. So in our previous chapter, when I was explaining you about the physical features of our country, that is the relief features of our country, I have said you that the Western Ghats are more higher in elevation than the Eastern Ghats. Okay, and the general slope of the land is from the west to the east. So it shows here that because of the general slope of the land from the west to the east, most of the peninsular rivers which originate in the Western Ghat, they flow towards the Bay of Bengal. Okay, such as the Kaveri, the Godavari, the Krishna, and all. Okay, these are the important peninsular rivers, large peninsular rivers, which drain their water in the Bay of Bengal. So here we came to know about the basic terms related to the drainage. Okay, that is the term drainage, the drainage pattern, sorry, the drainage basin. Okay, and the water divide, as well as we came to know about the features of the Himalayan rivers and the features of the peninsular rivers. So by learning these features of the Himalayan and the peninsular rivers, we can easily write down the differences between the Himalayan and the peninsular rivers. So I hope you all have understood the topics clearly.